हेलो गाइस, मेरा नाम है शाश्वत और आप देख रहे हैं के टेक। आज मैं आपके लिए एक ऐसे टॉपिक पे वीडियो लेके आया हूं जो काफी इंटरेस्टिंग है लेकिन कभी कभी थोड़ी सी कंफ्यूजिंग भी हो सकती है। एंड दैट इज प्रोसेसर्स। व्हाट आर प्रोसेसर्स, व्हाट आर सीपीयूज, व्हाट आर कोर्स, व्हाट आर थ्रेड्स एंड ऑल दैट. And let me tell you, in no way am I a master in this topic. I have just done a 2 days crash course, so I will try to explain it to you in as simple manner as possible. I'd like to thank my friend Abhishek Paul for suggesting me this video, and if you have any suggestions for me, do post it down in the comment box below. I would love to make a video on your suggestions. So without any delays, let's get straight into the video. Let me start by telling you what a processor is. A processor is the single most essential component of any complex electronic device. Now, what is a complex electronic device? Let it be your phone, your laptop, or your TV. What is a simple electronic device? Probably a toaster or a mixer, which does not require much of a complex circuitry, probably just an on-off switch. Right. So, in short, a processor is the brains of any complex electronic device. The brains of your smartphones, the brains of your laptops, the brains of your TVs. So what does a processor do? It performs mathematical operations on the bits. Bits as in 0 and 1. The binary number system it operates on. Okay, so what kind of operations? Arithmetic operations like plus, minus, divide and multiply, or probably Boolean operations like true and false. 0 is for false, that means off. 1 is for true, as in on. Okay, so this was the processor, the main brain of any device. Now what is a CPU? CPU is also a processor. These two terms are used interchangeably. मतलब हम लोग CPU को processor भी बुला सकते हैं, processor को CPU. It does not make much of a difference, though there is just one small difference. Okay, the reveal. What is the difference? The difference is just that there can be many processors inside a CPU. Alright, now how is that? Just wait a second. You might have heard of cores, a dual core processor, a quad core processor. You probably have an octa-core processor on your phone or laptops. Okay. So what does a core mean? A core means a processor inside a CPU. That is the central processing unit of your device. Okay, so for example, a quad-core processor would mean 4 cores and 4 processors inside your CPU. An octa-core device means 8 processors inside your CPU. So number of cores is equals to number of processors inside a CPU. Now, what is the use of multi-core devices? Multi-core devices tend to perform better and more efficiently only because the main reason is that there are way more processors. Simple. In one processor, there is only one path, one input and one output. In a multi-core processor, there would be multiple inputs and multiple outputs. So that would make the process faster. Now, another advantage of this would be that one core can excel at one task and another core can excel at another task. So one core would be especially for one type of task, which would make the processor even faster. So this is the use of multi-core processors. If you are a bit familiar with processors, you might have heard of the term thread. So what is a thread and what is threading? A thread is nothing but a virtual core. So what does that mean now? 2 threads in a core, meaning that the core is divided into 2 virtual cores. There is no physical separation between the cores, but they are virtually divided into 2 threads. Okay, so let me explain it to you with an example. Let's take a 4-core 2-thread CPU. Now what does that stand for? 4-core means there are 4 processors inside that CPU. 2 threads mean now there will be 4 into 2, that is 8 virtual cores. Now what that does is it increases our performance and increases our efficiency as well, because now it is not necessary that we use one whole core. We can just use one thread for one single task. So that increases our efficiency, and probably if we want to do more tasks, then we can use multi-threading to increase the performance of our device. Alright, so now you know what is a processor and what is a CPU. But how do you measure its speed and efficiency? The efficiency is generally measured in terms of its size. The smaller the size, the more efficient it is, since the lesser power it consumes, and generally the more powerful it is. So, how do we measure size? The size of not a processor, but what is the processor made up of? It is made up of transistors. What is a transistor? It is an on-off switch. Just a simple on-off switch. The efficiency is measured in terms of the size of that switch. As in, probably a 5 nanometer, 7 nanometer, 10 nanometer size. For example, let me take it out of my tech news video of this week. There I told about the Kirin 1000 5G chip, which would come in the 5 nanometer process. So what does that mean? The size of one single transistor inside that chip would be 5 nanometers. Alright, now the second part of this. How is the speed measured? The speed is measured in gigahertz. Gigahertz means the number of times that switch can turn on and turn off in one single second. So for example, 2.3 gigahertz. So that comes out to be 2.3 billion, or probably I guess 230 crore times in 1 second. So it switches on and off 230 crore times in just 1 second. So that is how we measure the efficiency and the speed of any processor. So now let me sum it up all for you. What is a processor? It is nothing but a calculator that performs calculations in our complex electronic circuits, which are used in phones and laptops mostly. What is a CPU? It is the central processing unit, i.e. the brains of our electronic devices. There can be more than one processor inside a CPU. That processor inside a CPU would be called a core. So basically a 4-core CPU means there are 4 processors inside of that CPU. What is a thread? A thread is nothing but a virtual core. It is a way of splitting a physical core into 2 virtual cores. So a 4-core 2-threaded processor would have 8 virtual cores. So this is it. I hope you understood what I tried to explain, and if you have any suggestions for me to try and improve on my current videos, do put it down in the comment box below. As you can see, I have changed my background a bit, and I have also changed my mic this time. So do let me know how is that better than before or not. And if you have any suggestions for me, especially for any upcoming videos, any queries regarding this video and any queries in general that probably I could make a video on, I would love to, and do post it down in the comment box below. If you understood this video and पसंद आई हो अगर ये वीडियो, तो please like का बटन दबा दीजिएगा. It really motivates me, and do subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any future videos like this one. This is Shashwat Kothari signing off, and I'll see you in the next video.